Jeremiah 23 and Hoods. Welcome. I want to talk today about individualism, tokenism. Uh, as far as individualism, as far as the collective whole, nationalists are dealing with it, especially with African Americans, and we go there. Uh, there's always got to be a token so that the whole tribe can't go over, and Joshua 1 can't be discovered of what is like, for example, all of us to have houses and paid off the debts and burn them at the same time, like tens of thousands. So, stuff like that. So, what I'm saying is, it would be allowed to have a few successful people. I just woke up, so you guys bear with me. But the main thing is, you can tokenize, but you cannot duplicate what's real. So you see on the media like right now, man, they've been blasting. I ain't never seen so many black media people in the world. They always been there. People went into journalism. I'm glad for the exposure. I'm glad for the voice. I'm glad of the prophetic, bringing the truth, black propheticness. Shout out to that, Cornel West. I get it. But what I'm concerned about is the tokenism. Because when you look at the scene, as you see CNN and see increasing black faces, knowing the mob had just left the Capitol, and at the same time the police taking all the guns they can out the hood, federally speaking, if the wrath of the enemy, if it wasn't for prayer, it would be run, nigga, run. Duck, nigga, duck. You know that one? Yeah. So, again, I thank God for James Conn, crossing the lynching tree, With the real Christians, please stand up. I get it. In truth, speak the truth in power. I'm with all of that. But in the face of, let's say, COVID-19 in the black neighborhood as it stands right now, our numbers are the highest. So why do I keep seeing black faces every 5 minutes on MSNBC, CNN, on the impeachment? It's only a couple more days, but we attack as though blacks own something in this nation. And that's the token. You got a few journalists make 100,000 say what I wanted to be said. Or your conviction has to match whatever the standard is. Now, there's one thing that Biden won, but it's another thing to kick him when he down and then stick black faces on it. Because black people don't have no power in this country. We don't own no land. Thank God for the just now, 2020, 2019, put on your YouTube and go look at that land. That land is that they bought, put in black family, by 19 blacks buy land. It'll come up on YouTube. They bought 97 acres. Now that ain't no talking. See, that's taking care of business. What is our assignment, I feel, and I'm going to say the black prophetic definitely came through Elijah Muhammad, and I'm a Christian to the core. I believe in following Christ, but the bottom line, as far as blackness go in America, he asked for land. Let's just think if we'd have got it back in 1933, where would we be now? Well, of course, CVS would be paying you for the 50 to 100-year ground leases. So showing me a couple of successful blacks here and a couple of successful blacks there, and look at blacks everywhere now on the media. They have power to even look like the imagery is saying, look at them. They have power to rally and get impeached. We take the hit for everybody. Just like Martin Luther King marched for the Indians, the poor whites, and the Latinos. They were all included in that poor man's march. The people's, get on YouTube, check it out, search it out. Bottom line, even though the black uh, establishment was not all for in that order, and at the same time, they allowed that Christ-like feature, and in the face of lynching, uh, said, no, we're going to put them all in the table. That's that beam. That's that shining. That's that light. That's what you can't put out about black people. They did it for all. And all now are for one. And that whatever your collective ego or collective group mission is, that would it be. Right? How about without all these Indians and different groups and have now we go to the casino, pay the slaves, the descendants of slaves, spend our Walmart check in there, and then we cool, got a drink, whatever. We think it's a glory thing to go to Cash Creek. I'm down here in Saxo, even in Vegas, y'all know me down there. I got two places. Well, I move and do my authority thing. Check this one. Yeah. Man, they go spend the money in the casino. Now, I'm not going to be an idiot. Oh, excuse me, y'all. I'm not going to do that. I'm saying people that do that are idiots necessarily. They might have been ready to blow their brains out, and the ether dropped somewhere, and they found some kind of satisfaction in hitting that thing. How can you judge where a person is? You got to wait to the end of the thing. The bottom line is then you can judge the thing, but not the person, because if you were an onion, you'd be an onion. But by the grace of God. And nevertheless, we spend their money, they got theirs. You see the Latinos coming up, they got whole communities. Koreans got communities. And new immigrants that barely speak English, and these are not Mexicans I'm talking about. Thank God for every race of people. Welcome to America. But bottom line, they got at least places in suburbs. And most of them haven't been in the country long at all. So when you start using black people to put our face as though we have a collective, we have a collectiveness, but it's not just the cop that kills our people. The collectiveness got to be towards something that deals with assets, because cheap money ain't going to help us. It's just consumption. And what we'll do is have nothing. You'll be throwing it in the trash. The bottom line is individualism is the press to maximize one's potential and gifting. But collectivism is where you pressing to overflow, because God multiplies and God is a God of abundance, into a bigger, by the law, with the stewardship saying you must be fruitful and multiply. Remember the fig tree? When it didn't have fruit, Jesus said, you faking. Bottom line, multiplication must happen. Now in the negative, we took a blow with a lot of deaths today in our communities, as well as the blows they took back then to get where we are today. And so if 2021 is not with the big inclusive thing on it of what we can do, and it's still individually, especially those that go to church, I can do, which gotta still be I can do, but what we can do. And one area is in the area of money. The Crips and Bloods gets things done because they use the money collectively to get things done. That's why they could pay a lawyer 800,000 and just not blink. The bottom line, brother, they didn't pay tithes to get that money. They tapped in laws of multiplication, supply and demand, the laws of scarcity, and because it was an illegal thing, and they did business with the Colombians, and the Colombians were allowed to do business with us. If they'd have been selling us nuclear stuff, believe me, it'd have been shut down. So each group, Latino, Asian, Black, but you show me if we do own a beauty salon, this is why Nipsey Hussle was so significant. Do we own the strip mall? At least if you don't, then you're leasing from someone else. That's a big deal. Get out of that situation. If you can't, you make it for you and your family, of course. Tap into their collectiveness. I've worked for many places here in Sacramento at their beauty salons and stuff like that, JCPenney, Regis, frontliners. And the bottom line is cutting hair, doing hair, whatever the thing was. When I first had popped here from LA, I was tapping into collective whole based on hair is a demand. That's why the people that do hair here they do good. Supply and demand, correct? Right. Scarcity, need a hairdresser. That one always going to be there. But if we can elevate that, that's the beginning. Thank God for the millionaire lady that started that back in history. Madame did a good job in her entrepreneurship. But unless it pours into the collective, now it did. So people could I put lots of food on my table with the mechanism, with that particular industry field. I also did it and tapped into it through the markets down here in real estate. So I tasted that and did it in Vegas. Tasted that. So tapping collectiveness as a whole, one world government, call it what you want. That's cool. That's what we do. But then we should pull from that and what each tribe did do. Martin Luther King marched for the right to do. And now you can ride through what's that street over there, Stockton, and see whole Korean neighborhoods. That's the way the black community should look. And even the land, and Bud Oates, and who bought the land, and this, that, and the other, and all of that. But who really owned that land and had the property deeds? That's why we look back in the Depression, or whenever Elijah Muhammad was around, and he asked for land. Now, prophetically, God had to put that in his heart. I don't care. God uses an elephant, so don't come telling me that you can't hear God in saying mass land. Everyone, that resonates. I don't have to be a Muslim to see that. I know what Jesus would do. He multiplied fishes and made sure everybody would have had a house. He would have took the bread and sold it and bought everybody a house. See, the bottom line is, if that's what it took, and that's the spirit of Elijah in his last days, it's going to be the fathers laying up for the children. But the children better be laying up for their children. And therefore, collective mass land with collective force of gatherings appeal now to groups, any group. We desperate now. Black businesses, entrepreneurs, and of course the first appeal was to the church, which been appealing to the churches for a long time. Nevertheless, whoever got an ear to hear, if you think individualism, we all need each other to get through this. Have you noticed? Online church. But believe me, when we come out of this, it should not be an individual breakthrough as much as it is a collective breakthrough and awakening. And one land being one of the ones. If you talk about restoration or reparations, you don't need cheap money. You need land. That would be restoring, because there was a great deal of, after that many years of slavery, billions and trillions and trillions. So, I mean, money added up. Have you used somebody 246, some say more, whatever the case, if I get that much labor out of you and your kids, kids. I owe you a lot of money with interest. If you be fair about it, whatever you sow, you reap. So if you impose taxes, then you got to pay taxes on the money that was what? Borrowed. It's not like timeshare 18.99. Imagine that. A BT CEO says somewhere like 13 trillion would be owed. However, those numbers on cheap money, just printed out the air since Nixon on the what? Vietnam War. They flooded the money with markets. There's wood everywhere, trees, paper. But the real asset in the beginning with what? Hamilton and Madison and them was what? Gold coins. So the bottom line, now you have the stock market right there, but the bottom line, what do we own? We own individual stocks, but collectively, what do we own? The family that had bought 97 acres, the people rather, decided this. Get on YouTube, check it out. This is what we're going to do. We have more of that, and then we could have more engineers, more into development of property and communities. And I appeal to the young men, think about that. Young women, think about that. Think the developer. Think build. Think Nehemiah. And what's wrong with that? Because in the end, we all win. If you own all this land right here in this California woods, then you and I would be able to, one day it'll be CVS again, with ground leases paying who? Us. And where'd it go? Let's do the Indian thing. Martin Luther King took a bullet. They gave him some land, but he took a bullet. He had them included too. They collectively used the money and they what? Bring it somehow back into their communities. Now check this out. Like the state, if we all pay taxes to the state, no federal tax, wouldn't the state have more money? Right? Especially big states like California. Right? To spend back into the communities, correct? Right. From the taxes that's paid, right? Yes. If more taxes are imposed, you say jobs, but indentured service get nothing. So they have nothing to lose. But if ownership, now we go to the principle of equality, would be the offer, more people would be glad to work. Because now we all prosper together. So indentured servants, that's so far behind. The planets don't shift now. They way back there, you know. Wait for me for, you can't even stay with somebody. The landlords went crazy. We're in 2020, so everything's been revealed. You got the aristocrats, the rents, the evictions going forth, and the landowners, and now the peasants. Bottom line, you can't keep up with the status as the bars raised and inflation and everything. The pinky ring from the tops pull them so they can keep control of what's going on here. So how does individual tokenism help us in the media if we don't know what we're asking for? One vision, not ask just so I can have a house. Your brother gonna suffer. You know, how many of y'all lost loved ones from your family because they live over here? So we all affected by the law of one. Remember, Oklahoma City, they burned it down. So when you say, and when we teach anything now, going into 2021, let's continually say the individual press, but let's say for the collective whole, with a vision to restore the waste cities, or the waste places, or what was taken away. That would be praise, because if we don't get beyond the song, we're in serious trouble. And that would be giving God thanks. God, thank you, I'm in the suburbs, but my brother's dying in them streets, but that's okay, Lord. And gratitude for if God brought me out. Now we got Joshua 1 staring us in the face. Got to help your brother now. Grow up time. Help your children. Help your grandkids. Help. And you say, help, brother? Yeah, lean that way. Think, this is a famine, but think that way now. That way, by the time we meet, we all got one mind, one heart, one accord, and we will know, like Acts 2:32, what to do with that money. Because if we all don't come up, it's going to shame us, bro. Tokenism of one being rich here One rich preacher there, but a person over here getting on a bus. See, they'll see right through it. You got to see it in the media. We don't have no power, but yeah, we're calling for the impeachment, but black people are dying as we speak, so-called, the fastest. So what we should be asking for is not what they're asking for. I mean, we need some land before we start talking impeachment, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Give me some land and let my people go. And we can be strong as a people and we decide what's going to be in our best interest. Not people using us, tokenism, or usury is the sin of the country. How can I use you? So you ought to be fed up with being used by tokenism because anybody that's not talking about bring the vaccine right now. You see what I'm saying? On the spot to get them in them hoods. Bring the Army, the Navy, and wherever you got to get it there to stop that plague in this black communities, which are destroying our elders, descendants of slaves who don't deserve to die over some bull crap. Then the representation we see on CNN, MSNBC is usually for another agenda, because what matters as far as Black Lives Matters right now, you look at the end of this body count and you tell me right now what we should be focusing on right now. Stopping the plagues. Where's the army? Well, in fact, where's the armies of the world distributed? What, as fast as they get pumped out, I understand. Well, you better be pumping, because then we don't know what you're doing. Show the world what you're doing. Because you can regulate at this point population control, and that looks spooky. You know, you put it in the hands of the states don't move fast enough. You put a bunch of, look like, and I hate to say this word, but house Negroes that don't sold out to the idea of, I got something. I know it's an individual press, and I understand individualism, but God brought them all out of Egypt at the same time, and Joshua 1. So, God's not willing that any be left behind. We got mass destruction in front of us already in the neighborhoods. Ice Cube goes to them with a contract. They don't. A contract is binding. And in the midst of insurrection, you have black faces that have no land. Even Elijah Muhammad asked for a state. I can clown the Christians on that one, and I'm a Christian. Oh my God, I hate to talk about me, but brother, we did a terrible job. We living in acres and acres of land while our brothers is dying in the streets. We so far separated from them. We like the media that you see, the black media that you see, talking about impeach Trump when they should be saying, would you please get the National Guard before my grandfather died next to pass this drug out. That's how drunk, delusional, and distractible, if there's such a word, usury is. When it doesn't have your agenda, it has its own. It'll feed off you like an anaconda. And that comes from both sides. Church, if you in there, come out from among it. Ain't no answer but the work of the Holy Spirit in the hearts of men, changing the heart to want to join this fight through the collective whole. And it's more than just politics. It's more than just spiritual talk. It's got to be demonstrated. Black people don't own nothing. So where are the prophets? Let them speak so we can judge, test the spirits to know, okay, what direction collectively? Or quit reading about they all came out. I was talking about them cats. They ain't got no meaning to you. Because they all came out the same day, Egypt. They all went into Jordan on the same day. Little by little, but they helped each other. They dare not enjoy the pleasures of their homes and houses and cars on that side of Jordan. The 3 tribes that were in Joshua 1 commanded to leave the Cadillac and the alligator shoes and the safe with the money and all that you got. That's how the picture would look today. And go help your brother because they ain't got their possession. So what's wrong with mass land buying to all the collective groups and intellectual thinkers and all the scholars and everybody else? Can the black people please come into their promised land? Land. Oh, we get more hell in the book of Revelation. But you should know that tokenism is not God, the mass. They are not promoting the collective. They are promoting the ism. See, they got a house. See, they got $1 million from football. See, Obama. See, when the mass don't even know, it's got to speak up for itself. If you ask not, you have not because you ask not. When you ask, then step 2 would be God heard and goes to working. He uses cooperating components, angels, whatever. Step 3, alignment. That is, you have to. They all was what? In the book of Acts, they all was sitting there having their collective meeting, and God fell. Collectivity on all of them. And they what? Multiplied. So wherever we was, if you looking at one house, God's looking at 500,000 at a time. That's reparations. That's restoration. That is, if don't depend on the devil to give you nothing. If you don't do it for yourself, think big. All you thinkers out there, critical thinkers, it's got to be massive. It ain't big enough. You're going to have to enlarge your tent because God's ready to move, but it's through the collective whole. Almost like a Joshua man, Yeshua, and the captain of the Lord of the host. And the body is in that man, the man of war. Therefore, war what? Financial war? Oh, you think God, when Jesus Christ wouldn't bang on that when he ran them away? The capitalists? Everyone capitalizing, throwing you in debt. We have no gold. We have no true asset. We got a note with a bank that's getting paid while our money's sitting in it. We are lost. Our leaders of old get distracted on the silver or the gold or the pleasures of Egypt, or just plain out missed the target, man. All our emphasis right now should be on saving our people. And aftermath would be maybe a lot of dead elders. And yet black people got microphones in their hand, but they saying what they want, what's important to someone else. Who cares if they they manifested their devils? Them devils always been there. What that got to do with our agendas of restoration for whatever tribe? Now, collectively, we must do it because if the Indians can do it, we can do it, and if the Koreans can do it, we can do it. If the Mexicans can do it, we can do it. You just gotta push through and make your people through the laws be able to buy large mass tract land like here in Elk Grove. Go out there and see how much it costs. Google it, and then they're selling it. I'm in Sacktown, but I'm talking about doing this all across the United States. Collective groups. I appeal to the churches, but any black collective group now. I'm desperate. I just want to see people own something now, and maybe they'll wake up. God will use anybody, use a donkey. So, without a true asset, which they buy mortgage bonds and buy on second market, our notes, and the bottom line, they make money for free. And financing charge you 6.5 on the 500,000 on the person. 10, 12 cap on a second. You black and you ain't, let me see, paid your bills on time. You lost your job and whatever happened, you made a mistake. You get charged more in the bank if you miss, take it off. So like your car. So that's a system we played into. We've been distracted. And we fighting for now impeach the president. But the issues first is stop the bleeding of the elders. Because in our communities, we're supposed to be number one. So where's the media on that? So divide, we conquer. If there was a plan, while we're talking about impeach the president and not getting that drug in them African American neighborhoods, let me speak up for them. That disease could be spreading and actually killing our brothers and our sisters, and that's not fair. That's what I mean by tokenism media. See, the blacks are so successful. And individualism appeal. And for blacks, that's old news. You still bury your nephews in the hood. God brung them out. You either like Cain and don't care, they blood don't talk to God, the Most High. And Yeshua, the Christ, said, I died for them. So what are you going to do about it, churches? Poverty destroys. You can't be living like them. CEO, bishops, or whoever you are out there doing that, if you're African American, and you don't, vibes like this can't reach you. You feel me? Because we don't want to repent. But God said, come out from among her. Touch not this unclean, filthy lucre, chasing, usury, scheming, privileged, opportunists with an advantage because of collectivism, investors, or however it goes. You should have seen the market simp in Vegas when the market dropped. The Chinese came with cash. And you can do the same. Collectivity got China where it is. Are we communists? Man, I don't know what a communist is, but I know what the kingdom of God is, and it ain't what I'm looking at for black people. So tokenism and individualism cannot be accepted. If you seriously want to bring restoration, I'm from South Central LA since 71, and I'm in SAC right now, and I'm telling you, you don't need to know my name, it's the voice. But true restorations has to be done by black people, business minds, and all the collective forces. They got wealth. They got some money as a token. And if you can get land and pull it off, gold is important, diamonds. You see how they plundered Africa to get them? Those are true assets, so-called. They're rocks to the believer. Bottom line is, bro, don't chase what they do. And if you're African American, chase collectivity. And don't ride on individualism. Deuteronomy 26. So the tithe was for the priest, the widows, the father, the stranger. Yeah, it was for the temple. But later on and all of that. But bro, come on, man. God is just not spiritual. He broke bread and fishes and loaves. He shows and manifests himself, not just through healing people, but also through money. That's important to people. There's commonality, mutuality. There is ether that drops when you give. There is an open mind. There is a showing a person that you care. There is loving kindness. David used it with Mephibosheth. There is tender mercies, because it don't matter if they were a tither in your church or not. Like my nephew, they got turned away from a church with his lights out, 3 kids. You listen, wake up. Or you're gonna be a dinosaur, and the rich and the wolves ain't gonna care. You ain't gonna be able. They gonna be way over here, and you gonna be way over there, getting put out, because you can't afford the rent no more. I'm talking to the members of the body of Christ. Y'all better wake up and help each other, because I don't see no visionaries that are at least moving that way, except for them 19 in Georgia that bought that land, or wherever it is. They bought 97 acres. That's a start. We need, restoration-wise, land, one of the most precious. Look at New York City now. Commodities on the planet. Woe to them that's greedy, that covered the earth from the Lord of the earth. When he come, they gonna fight him, because he's going to divide. He's an equal, just God. And those that mowed their fields have cried into the ears of the Lord of the rest. They can't rest. God says he'll give them rest. It's a spiritual thing. But we're talking about the coming of the Lord and preparation. John the Baptist two coats, one. Collectivity. And you can play and I can play and run with our stubbornness, but it's going to be smacking you in the face every time. When they say Black Lives Matter, that means all lives matter, but these you left out. Now, what do you think Jesus is saying about that? Project Restoration, Jeremiah 23, and hoods, forget my town elders. I am not speaking to you. I don't know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to anybody that got an ear to hear, and I'm planting a seed for my grandkids first and foremost. God bless you, and have a great day.